So I'm here to talk about Arrow. Wait, something is missing. That's better. Arrow review in the hood. So Arrow, it's basically a show about Batman without Batman. And the only reason that I'm going to let that slide is because I know the Green Arrow started as a Batman clone. But of course that was in the 1940s, and we're not in the 1940s anymore. We are at a time when we have enough of an experience with franchises that you don't really need to mold a character that has such a rich history and rich personality as Green Arrow to make him into Batman. So while I am going to let it slide for the pilot episode that there's such a strong similarity in terms of tone and personality between this show and the characters that I've mentioned, but I'm not going to forgive it forever if it persists. So moving on. Watching the pilot episode, it appears to me that while this is not in the Smallville universe, that this follows the Smallville formula to a T, in the sense that the producers of this feel that they're entirely justified to change these characters whatever way they want, to completely mess around with their histories and their respective mythologies, but at the same time appease us, the fans, with little tidbits here and there. It shows that they have a healthy respect for said histories and said mythologies, even though they don't actually use them. Oh my god, they completely raped this character! Oh, hey little red-haired boy called Roy. Thank you, Arrow producers, you're so nice to us. I fully expect that shit to happen, by the way. That being said, the way that this started and developed, with the strong emphasis placed on the fight against crime and the criminal element and all of that, and turning Laurel into a lawyer, which is so much in the vein of Rachel Dawes in the Batman Begins and the Dark Knight movies, I feel that this is going to be a show that will appeal to the male side of the audience a great deal more than Smallville. Smallville unfortunately became entrenched in the melodrama of it all, and the fact that it took place in high school definitely didn't help. Green Arrow thankfully does not have that problem. There was a little bit of romantic melodrama in the pilot episode, but not too much, just enough to remind us that we are on the CW. On the characterization of Oliver Queen, I feel that at this point in time, Smallville's Green Arrow kicks this Green Arrow's ass. Of course, we haven't seen that much of him, but I felt that his characterization in this pilot episode was all over the place, in the sense that when he came back, he was super zen, and then he gets into hardcore training mode, and then he gets really pissed off on the criminals, and then he gets really sappy when he's with his old flame, and then he's really pissed off again. Now, anybody else looking within this universe from the outside would probably chalk this up to the fact that he just came back and he's slightly mentally unhinged. But then he goes into douchebag mode where he's like, partying, yay! And he so obviously hates it. And that's something that I feel the Oliver Queen and Smallville got so right, is that he was a playboy billionaire. He loved the ladies. He loved doing what it was he was doing. He felt like he had a purpose when the writers didn't fuck with his head, like all throughout season 8, for instance. But all in all, the Oliver Queen and Smallville was, despite all the crap that he went through, he still was a pretty positive guy. He liked to have fun. He liked the ladies. And this guy is like, oh, I have to pretend that I'm having fun and having sex with 4 girls at the same time. Oh, the humanity. Chill out, Oliver Queen. Seriously, chill out. Okay, he's just beginning. He's easing into it. This was just a pilot episode. But I do want him at some point to be more like the Oliver Queen that I know, who, you know, was a male slut. And we loved him for it. Of course, there was a big emphasis placed on physical combat, which, you know, most of the action scenes in this had to deal with, you know, fighty stuff. And that's fine. But my favorite part of it was the fact that at the end of the day he did manage to put a weird technological device in that guy's office, and it did prove that Green Arrow is more than just a martial artist. He is super clever, super smart, but it does make you wonder, for somebody that was out of it for 5 years, like away from civilization, and doesn't know what Twilight is, thank God, how he could actually pull that stunt. Like, how did he get that device, and how did he know how to operate it? But of course that's just nitpicking. He's a superhero, that's how it worked. So overall, I'm going to give the series another shot because, you know, one of my favorite ideas from the pilot episode was the fact that Green Arrow had this list that was handed down from his father, who just had to die in a tragic way to ensure his son's survival. And I like that idea of going on a list of bad guys. I think that gives this Green Arrow some clarity, some vision for the future, instead of just, you know, doing it for the sake of doing it, like for instance in the Cape, who unfortunately I do find some similarities with. And the Cape only lasted for a very, very short season, thankfully. And for fuck's sake, like, get some better sets, because honestly it took me out of the experience completely to see, like, oh, they're in Lex's mansion. Oh, they're in that club in Metropolis where everybody hanged out all the time, because obviously Metropolis, being a huge city, only had one cool club. And then, oh, they're in the Daily Planet's newsroom or whatever. Because, you know, this is not the Smallville universe. This is not the Smallville universe. This is not the Smallville universe. Well, get some different sets, you broke-ass cheap CW cunts.